The 2026 World Cup is broadcast as a festival of global passion, but underneath the emotion, the event operates as a ruthless mathematical machine. 48 nations form a system built entirely on the number 3, 3-point increments, 3-match cycles. In this phase, every match adds information. The matrix sorts the field, generating a cloud of data, leaving the total roster perfectly intact. Nothing is deleted. The sheer volume of this data creates an assumption. A nation accumulates points, dominates a table, and we interpret that statistical momentum as a guarantee of victory. But this abundance of information is a temporary condition. The machine gathers all this noise only to prepare the field for a completely different operation. On June 28th, the 48-nation matrix reaches exhaustion. The addition of data stops. The central mechanism now reverses. The system completely abandons its expansive sorting logic and immediately begins executing a series of irreversible subtractions. Match results no longer yield a comfortable place in a table. From this day forward, a single result subtracts a nation entirely. The record stops growing outward and starts closing in. The objective of the tournament narrows. Identifying the strongest team is irrelevant. The only valid currency is survival. In the 1920s, the Russian futurist poet Vladimir Klebnikov argued that time itself holds an arithmetical grain. He calculated that history is built on alternating blocks, moving strictly between the powers of 3 and the powers of 2. We see this mechanism applied directly to the 2026 bracket. The groups of 3 have exhausted their structural purpose. The 2 to the power of n cascade takes over. 32 nodes systematically collapse in half, to 16, to 8, to 4, 2, and 1. In this cascade, every single knockout match acts as a bit of code, a 1 for survival or a 0 for elimination. The complexity of the group stage is completely stripped away. What remains is a strict binary chain of consequence. This binary chain does not record the beauty of the play. It only records the verified outcome. Classical Chinese destiny texts read fate along 2 axes. A configuration is either clear, unobstructed and pure, or turbid, muddied, extended, and internally at war. Germany arrived at the knockout stage with an immaculate, clear record. Yet at the single threshold where past points no longer mattered, they drew a match and were instantly deleted. Argentina, by contrast, arrived turbid. They were scarred, extended, and twice within a minute of elimination. Yet they survived through ugly, prolonged play, and the ledger recorded their advance exactly the same way. Then there is the statistical anomaly of the tournament, Norway's midnight aurora. While highly priced favorites were systematically dismantled, Norway survived the cascade. The prediction models could not price their endurance, but the bracket accepted it as fact. The system exposes our preference for the strongest record. Ultimately, the ledger only honors the last record still being written. Eventually, the cascade reaches its final halving. 2 nodes collapse into 1, and the tournament clock permanently stops. At the final whistle, the global noise and probability of the preceding month evaporate into a singular, durable fact. In 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto's blockchain white paper introduced a parallel architecture for securing truth. By turning sequence and timestamp into a verifiable protocol, Nakamoto created a method where proposed actions harden into an undeniable historical ledger. 39 days of emotional chaos resolve in exactly the same way. The structure forces a cloud of possibility into a single permanent record. The physical event on the pitch concludes, but the record it leaves behind circulates indefinitely. A match is ephemeral. Anchoring that result into a permanent, collectible object creates an architectural proof of work. The SurR IFC PFP collection purposefully preserves this mathematical permanence. It secures the visual force of the game into a 53-piece geometric series. This record exists across 2 worlds. Digital authorship is locked on-chain, and every piece unlocks a matching premium physical trading card for the active collector. The collection ignores the forecasts and the pre-tournament favorites. It isolates and preserves the strict mechanics of the bracket itself. Because in this system, the question is never about who wins, it is only about what survives.